Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Problem with ex-Muslims is that they haven't moved on with Islam, and they comment on Islam based upon the acts of the Muslims and the works of the ulama. What they do, they basically catch the extremist interpretation of the religion and the extremist amongst the religion. And even sometimes it happens that some interpretation of religion or some you can say some understanding of religion was inspired by a particular time period or a particular place, because every scholar, it is not possible for them to be neutral to the place which he is born in and neutral in the time they are born in. So that's the reason many of the understanding of the deen, they based upon their own time and their own places. What the ex-Muslims or the atheists do, they pick up those understanding and they portray as if this is the ultimate understanding of Islam and this is what Islam is. They do not separate between Islam and Islamic knowledge. Islam is something which is divine, which is given by Allah and His Rasul, while Islamic understanding is how we interpret in Islam. And each person will interpret Islam according to his own understanding, his own IQ, his own biases, and his own upbringing, his own time and place. But what the ex-Muslims do, and I would not only blame ex-Muslims, I would even blame those Muslims who are stuck to those interpretations, who are stuck to those tafsirs. I would even blame them that you should have the courage to disregard any interpretation or any tafsir or any opinion of the scholars when it comes to defending Quran and Sunnah. Because for us, the ultimate authority is Allah and His Rasul. And if you are giving anyone else the same authority which you are giving to Allah and His Rasul, then I feel that you are committing a shirk. This is to the Muslims. And the ex-Muslims, they actually use it as a pawn to basically attack Islam. And we have seen this, we have always seen them, but the classical recent example can be seen in the debate of Kaisar Ahmad Reza Sahab and Haris Sultan. That Haris Sultan has actually quoted tafsir and the translation of the giants of our ulama, who are of the opinion that child marriage is permissible based on this verse of the Quran. The Quranic verse is not saying that. Point to be noted is that Quranic verse is not saying that, but the interpreters of the Quran, since they are saying that, so basically you are superimposing the view of the interpreters of the Quran, the mufassirin of the Quran, over Quran itself. The Quran never says that you should marry your child or give your child to marriage. In fact, Quran is very explicit in Surah Nisa, where it says that when they reach the age of marriage, so there is an age of marriage depending upon time and place. So the Quran itself is clear upon it. But the Mufassirin, the orthodoxy, since they say, depending upon their own biases and depending upon the scholars whom they themselves have followed, that's the reason this view is actually superimposing upon Islam itself. And we think that if we contradict the scholars, we are contradicting Islam. That's not true at all. We need to get out of this worldview that Islam is dependent upon any scholar. The scholars are dependent upon Islam. We should always remember this fact, and because of this, we have suffered a lot. Our ilm has been stuck because of this attitude, and the ex-Muslims actually take advantage of this fact. And I would even say to the ex-Muslims that focus upon the fundamentals of what our deen says. Everything else is just secondary. Anything which contradicts the fundamental, that cannot be religion, that can be discarded. And this applies to every field of knowledge. This doesn't even apply to Islam, it applies to every field of knowledge. This applies to even science, that the fundamentals of science are not going to change at all. Heart pumps blood, this will not going to change at all. If in the future it is changed, then people will not trust science at all, because they will say that the science have no basis. Sometimes the science says this, sometimes the science says that. The fundamentals never change. So focus on the fundamentals. If you want to destroy Islam, destroy the fundamentals of Islam. You will never be able to do that by cutting the so-called tafasirs or so-called interpreters of Islam.